If you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, and you've been hearing about peptides, and your doctor either dismissed you or had absolutely no idea what you're talking about, this video is for you. Peptides are one of the most talked about tools in longevity medicine right now. The problem is that most of what's out there is either marketing spin or wellness influencer hype. There is almost no physician-led, clinically grounded content on this topic. I'm going to change that right now. In this series, we're going to go from the very beginning, what peptides actually are, all the way through how I use them in my practice and what the research actually says. I'm Dr. Myra Reed. I'm a physician specializing in early detection and longevity medicine. My practice is built around 4 pillars: your hormones, your gut health, your lifestyle, your environment. Everything I do, every protocol I build runs through that framework, and peptides sit inside of all 4. If you're new here, I talk about that kind of medicine most doctors don't have time to explain. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this series. And if you've been watching for a while, welcome back. This series is something I've wanted to do and make for a long time. Let's start at the very beginning, because if we're going to talk about peptides, we need to know what they actually are. I want to tell you about a patient. She's 54, and she came in feeling what she described as completely fine and completely not okay. Her labs were normal, her cholesterol was fine, her thyroid was fine, her doctor told her she was healthy. But she was exhausted. She was gaining weight no matter what she did, her joints ached, her sleep was broken, and her mental clarity, she said, always relied on, was gone. She had been dismissed, not once, but multiple times. She was told, oh, it's just stress, it's just age, told to come back in a year. But she actually had was a signaling system that was breaking down, and nobody had looked at it. I'm going to come back to her in a few minutes, because what we found and what changed is exactly why I'm making this series. So what is a peptide? Here's what I want you to understand. Your body is already making peptides right now, every day. A peptide is a short chain of amino acids. Think of amino acids as little individual Lego bricks that are naturally produced in our body. A peptide is anywhere from 2 to 50 of those little bricks of amino acids linked together in a specific sequence. Peptides are smaller, more targeted, and they move through the body differently than proteins. They bind to receptors more precisely. Here's the key thing I need you to hear. Peptides are not supplements, they are not hormones, they are signaling molecules. What does that mean? It means that their job is to carry instructions. They don't replace something that's missing. They tell your body what to do, like repair tissue, release more growth hormones, regulate this inflammatory response, protect this nerve pathway. Your body already does all of these things, and peptides support and optimize the system that's already there. Here's why this matters as you get older. In your 20s and 30s, your body peptide signaling is largely working the way it should. But after 40, and especially after 50, that signaling starts to decline. Your growth hormone axis slows, your gut repair mechanisms become less efficient, your cellular communication becomes noisier, slower, less precise. And the conventional medicine model doesn't test for any of this. This is the gap that I work in. So stay with me, because the patient I told you about earlier, what we found is the reason I made this series a priority. There are hundreds of peptides being studied right now, but in my clinical practice, the ones I use most fall into 4 categories. Number 1, healing and recovery, the BPC 157, TB 500. These support tissue repair and gut lining integrity and the inflammatory response. They fall under the gut and lifestyle pillars of my framework. Number 2, metabolic support. The GLP-1 peptides, semaglutide, tirzepatide that so many people hear about, and their relationship to body composition. These sit in the hormone and environmental pillars. Number 3, cognitive protection. CMAC, CELAC, and Bredesen-informed protocols I use for brain health. Number 4, hormonal and anti-aging support. The CJC 1295, ipamorelin, the growth hormone secretagogues. These are for men and women experiencing hormonal decline of midlife who are not ready to go straight to synthetic hormonal replacement. Every peptide I use is always placed inside of a larger clinical picture. It's not a shortcut. It is one tool in a protocol that starts with the foundational work and moves through root cause identification and is always monitored. That's what makes it medicine, not wellness, medicine. Now back to my patient. When she came in, I ran a very comprehensive panel, the kind that goes well beyond what her previous doctors had done. We found that her gut permeability markers were elevated. Her inflammatory load was high, and all her hormone levels, some technically normal on standard ranges, were not optimal. There's a big difference between normal and optimal, and most people in their 50s are living in the gap between those two things. We built her protocol with BPC 157 to address her gut and inflammatory issues, CJC 1295 and ipamorelin to support her growth hormone axis, combined with nutrition, sleep, targeted lifestyle changes across all 4 of my pillars. At 90 days, she told me she felt like herself again. Not a younger version, but herself again, with less inflammation and even more energy. This is what this work is all about. Over the next 5 weeks, we're going to really dive in deep. Week 2 is about BPC 157 and TB 500, the healing peptides. In week 3, GLP-1, semaglutide, tirzepatide, and the body composition conversation that nobody is having alongside with weight loss results. Week 4, cognitive peptides and what I test for early brain protection using my Bredesen protocol certification knowledge. This week is for you if you've had brain fog that sleep just doesn't fix. And week 5, growth hormone peptides, specifically for men in their 50s who feel like someone turned the volume down on everything. And week 6, who is actually a candidate, the checklist, the testing, the red flags, the complete clinical picture before you do anything. I want to pause here for a second because I hear some version of this story every single week in my practice. Someone who's been dismissed, someone who's told that their labs are normal, someone who knew something was wrong and couldn't get anyone to take it seriously. This is why I make these videos. So I want to ask you something, and I generally want you to answer this below. What is the one symptom you brought to a doctor and have been told that there is nothing? Is it fatigue, brain fog, weight you can't lose? Tell me, drop it in the comments. I read every single one of them. And your answers directly shape what I cover in this next series in the next few weeks. If you are not subscribed yet, do that right now. Hit the bell too. This series is weekly and I don't want you to miss the next one. The button is right there. It takes 2 seconds and it means you'll be notified the moment the next video goes live. One more thing. I've put together a free resource for you. It's the foundational questionnaire that I start with when I see patients and see the areas that people are struggling with. You may be surprised what you find about the symptoms that you thought you just learned to live with, but don't have to anymore. We can do the right workup and the right treatment. It's completely free. The link is in the description below, so grab it. Thank you for being here. Everything I do, every protocol, every video, every conversation runs through the same belief. Smarter, stronger, longer. Don't let your first symptom be your last.